Hey writers, yesterday I had the privilege of going to a writing workshop. And during that writing workshop, I got to sit down next to a student named Marlo. And I got to watch Marlo work on her writing. And for a moment, as she was working, I thought to myself, is this reading time or is this writing time? Marlo was doing so many things that you guys always do during reading time, and that's why I got confused. Let me show you what she was doing. Pay close attention right now. One day, I forgot to bring, one day I forgot to bring my markers to the meeting area. Oh no! I hope you noticed that what Marlo was doing was the same as things she would do during reading time. Well, what was she doing? First of all, she was reading. She had to pause and break apart one of her words. And then, you know what Marlo did? She went back and she reread parts of her story. Writers, today I want to teach you that writers go from being the writer to being the reader. And when writers reread their own books, they read just as if they were reading a published book. And sometimes the writer hears a mess up and says, oops, and then that writer fixes the mess up. Let me show you what it is like when a writer becomes a reader, reading his or her own book, just like as if it's a published book. But before I do this, let's remind ourselves of all the things we know that grown-up writers do when they reread their writing. So here are some things that grown-up writers do. Grown-up writers reread their writing the same way they reread books. So the first thing grown-up writers do is they reread. Say that with me. Reread. Perfect. Grown-up writers read along until they come to mistakes like words they left out, and then they say things like, oops, and they grab their pen and they fix it up real quick, and then they get back to reading like an author. Okay, are you ready to study how writers become readers? Check it out. As I read my writing, I am going to show you how I read along like a reader, and then maybe if I notice something I need to fix up, I fix it up. Here I go. One day, I forgot to bring my markers to the meeting area. Oh no! So during lesson, I forgot the word my there. So during my lesson, so I'm going to jot that down right here. I'm going to jot the word my. So during my lesson, I walked across the meeting area to get my cup of markers. So during my lesson, I walked across the meeting area to grab, I think grab sounds better than get. To grab, so I just crossed out the word grab, get, and I wrote the word grab, my cup of markers. As I was walking, my markers spilled everywhere. One dropped on Franklin's head. Ouch, he shouted. Okay, writers, I hope you noticed how I transformed from a writer to a reader, and I use strategies I use when I read. The first thing I did was I reread, and rereading helps writers make sure their stories make sense, and it helps them make sure that everything they need to say is in the story. Sometimes a writer also checks that their spelling is the best that it can be. Now, it is time for all of you to be the readers of your writing. I want you to take a moment to pick out a story from your finished side, a story that you want to read like an author today. But I also, at the same time, want you to grab a pen or something to write with, because as you're reading your writing like a reader, you might come across a little mistake. And when you do, you just grab your pen real quick and fix it up. Okay, boys and girls, off you go to be readers of your own writing.